listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You are watching the Talking Heads. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and it's so nice to have you here. This show is all about presentations from leading experts around the world who come and share their knowledge, their expertise, and their experience to educate us, inspire us, and entertain us. Our show features people who come and give their time to share what they've learned to help make us better, both personally and or professionally. We have two experts today with us. One is backstage and the other will be joining us shortly. Let me welcome Ricki McKenna. Hi, Ricki.
Good morning, Jacalyn. How are you?
Hi, it's so nice to see you. And just before we begin, you have a CN behind your name. So I believe that means Certified Nutritionist. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. Such an important topic when it comes to nutrition. I just want to let our audience know what to expect on the show. And then, Ricki, you and I will have a little conversation, and then we'll get into the presentation. How does that sound?
Sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. We're glad to have you. Our show, as I mentioned at the top, is about presentations. So there will be no interviews here today for people watching, looking for an interview show. We have 9 shows today. Excuse me. 2 of them are presentation shows. Oh my, I'm losing my voice. Hold on.
Water. Drink your water. Okay, drink your water. And oh my goodness. I guess I'm on. I was just giving Dr. Jacalyn a hint. This is the good stuff to drink, and it's got a little bit of lemon in it. Good morning. I'm Ricki McKenna, and I am a certified nutritionist, have been for almost 22 years now. And if I've learned nothing else, this nutrition influences, as Dr. Jacalyn has on her show, your career, your business, and your life. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about your 3-pound squishy brain, which is one of the things that influences your life, and it influences your body. It also influences, of course, your career and your business, as your show suggests. So the practice of mindfulness, I'm going to take a little quote from Buddha. Our life is shaped by our mind, for we become what we think. And it's very interesting because your brain controls a lot of the functions in your body. It controls, there's the autonomic and the your nervous systems. And the brain does control them, but your mind actually controls your brain. And we haven't figured out where the mind is. We know where the brain is. It's encapsulated in a nice protective cover called your cranium. And it, just to give you a little bit of history, because as a nutritionist, I like to find out what goes on underneath things. And a functional nutritionist, which puts me in the category of finding the root cause of things. And the brain causes a lot of things, and our mind does too. You could say your mind, the subconscious, we've all heard that, or the other than conscious mind, controls a lot of things. Even if your brain is saying one thing, there's that little subconscious something back there, or what we call intuition, or that still small voice that sometimes shouts. That controls much more sometimes than the actual brain does. The brain does the function part. And so, as Buddha said, our life is shaped by our mind. And considering nutrition, I was trying to find a title for my talk today, and I was thinking about your squishy brain, which weighs approximately 3 pounds, and it's protected nicely by your cranium, which is a bony adhesive body, that protects it. And it's also been separated but brought back together into two sides. A lot of us know that. The corpus callosum, which is the connector in the middle, helps your brain, your left side and your right side, communicate with each other. And we call that balance. So what it has to do with food is mindfulness is something that I've been looking at for years and working with masterminds for people and in coaching people in healthcare, taking care of themselves. We've been talking about things like hydration and what hydration does for your brain. It, first of all, your brain is made of water and fat. So I've told my clients that if somebody calls you a fathead, say thank you, because fat feeds your brain, good fats like avocados and nuts, that type of thing. And the water helps everything that you eat and drink go through to your brain and the rest of your body, of course. And it helps plump up wrinkles, which we love. It can enhance physical performance. If you've ever noticed, athletes do drink water. It can support weight loss, and it basically helps you survive. It also lubricates your joints and removes waste, which we definitely want to be removed. And sometimes working with seniors, which is what I am at this point, seniors don't like to drink a lot. And there's a problem there because it also causes dehydration, can also cause fatigue and sleepiness. So it helps your body maintain its temperature as well. And to move on from water, food is the key to keeping your body and your brain healthy. And as a nutritionist, I'm always talking with people about the food that they eat. And I love this quote from Dr. Mark Hyman, who's an expert in functional medicine at the Cleveland Clinic. And his quote, basically, I've paraphrased, is there's no such thing as junk food. There's either food or there's junk. And my preference is for food. And he and I and many other nutritionists we favor a whole food, plant-based diet. However, I'm one who does not just limit myself to plants, although there are gazillions of plants and foods to choose from, vegetables and fruits. I'm also a fan of an occasional chicken, fish, or occasional piece of meat, which adds a little bit more of different kinds of protein. But what you want to do is feed your brain. And the things that feed your brain are things like glucose, which comes from the foods that you eat, and water, and proteins, and carbohydrates, which contain a lot of the glucose. But the other foods also contain glucose to feed your brain. And your brain it's a beautiful thing, and we have to protect it. One of the things that I've looked at recently, especially, is the problems that athletes have. And those of us who if you ever rode a bike when you were a kid and you fell, the brain can be affected. It's very well protected. We're a miracle of manufacture from spirit. And it's well protected except for things like traumatic brain hits. And your brain needs to be really guarded in that sense. So I'm happy to see kids wearing helmets riding their bikes now. I'm glad I had one on several years back when I made a turn on a rather, it was a little bit sandy on the turn, and I skidded out and I actually cracked my bike helmet. I fell on this side and noticed after when I put it back on that it had cracked, blew my sunglasses, forget that. But the brain really maintains all these things. It has self-repair as our body does. And the importance of feeding it good food, whether it's whole food plant-based or whether you're an omnivore and you do eat meats or fish or chicken, those are all the elements that help keep the brain healthy, as well as food for thought. And even as a nutritionist, I do get into food for thought. And this is where the mindfulness comes in. Because when we're choosing our foods, we have to be mindful of what we're choosing. And I'm also part of a summit that's happening this week called Freedom Kitchen. And Freedom Kitchen is focusing on, we all live in the kitchen at times. Everybody gathers there at parties. Freedom Kitchen is all about bringing consciousness to what we eat and what we feed our kids. Super duper important that we feed our children nutritious food and make them understand, or help them to understand, that what they're eating influences how they feel. And of course, even as adults, we want to feel good, and kids do too. And interestingly, you give a child a choice between something that's really good food, that's really good for them, and some junk. They may taste the junk, but they'll gravitate back toward the really good stuff. Even working with 3-year-olds, which I've done, and we help them with vegetables and dipping the vegetables into different sauces. They loved it. And I have a whole page, 2 pages full of animals made from fruits and vegetables. So if you're wondering how to feed your children, play with your food. Play with your oranges, play with your, there's peppers. You can add wings to a pepper and make it into a hummingbird. You can add eyes and a funky nose and ears to an orange and make it into whatever. And Brussels sprouts are particularly fun because you can do little tiny things and have a whole group. But this is playing with your food. But the idea is to play with the good food and have the kids understand that this is the food that helps you feel good and helps you grow well. And to, not have things like sugary breakfast cereals. That's not one of the best things to give your kids a start in the day. Give them an egg, scramble it, poach it, however you want to do it. But the egg has a combination of protein, and it has a combination of fats and enzymes within the yolk that helps it digest. And one of the things that I'm kind of going through a whole bunch of things here because we don't have a lot of time. But one thing I want to recommend to most people is consider your microbiome, otherwise known as your gut. We have a brain here. We have a heart brain, if you've ever learned anything about heart math. And then our gut, which is our second brain, really. And there's a direct connection. I loved it one day when my brother said to me, does my stomach and my belly have anything? Is my brain doing anything here? Does it influence my brain? And I said, how did you get to this age with me as your sister without learning that, yeah, your gut and your brain are connected? There's something called the vagus nerve. And it is an incredibly wonderful miracle planted in our bodies that gives a direct neurological connection. And it's the thing that tells you, oops, I'm full, stop eating. And if we listen to it, and there's where the mindfulness comes in, think about what you're eating and eat slowly and pay attention to what that mind, wherever it's coming from, is saying to your brain. And your brain will say, okay, now put the fork down. And it's amazing how all this works together. So what I promote as a nutritionist is common sense and eating mindfully and eating the things that make you feel good. And yes, dark chocolate is among the things that's pretty good because it does stimulate certain parts of your brain called endorphins. Those are the happy chemicals that we have. And chili. So I'm a fan of chocolate. And the thing is, if you're craving chocolate, and I know I'm kind of giving you a little bit of everything here. If you're craving chocolate, that may indicate that you might have a magnesium deficiency because chocolate does have magnesium. And what I find as a nutritionist and as a chef as well, I chef for seniors lately, is that people who are deficient in vitamins are not as prevalent as those of us that are deficient in minerals. So it's very important. Those are the things that minerals are electrolytes that are in your body and in water when you're drinking good water that help your body function and keep you alive. So eat your good food, drink your good water, make sure it's clean water that's been filtered. if you're filtering out the minerals, such as in a reverse osmosis system, there are liquid minerals that you can buy to re-enter the minerals into your water. So make up a big old pitcher of reverse osmosis water that takes out the chemicals, but replace the minerals, and then put the pitcher in your refrigerator and drink it all day. That's really what I have to say, because feeding your brain. I do have one other quote from Jon Kabat-Zinn, who is brilliant, and his whole life has been spent working on the art of mindfulness. It's an interesting quote, because what he says, if mindfulness is an innate quality of mind, it also is one that can be refined through systemic practice. And that's one of the things I work with my patients and my clients, on working with your mind, listening to your mind, educating your brain, and then taking all of that and putting it together when you choose your foods. And so he also explains that it's very interesting here. Attention, coming to our senses and healing ourselves and the world through mindfulness. That's the name of his book, if anybody's interested. It's Jon Kabat-Zinn, Zinn. Mindfulness can be thought of as moment-to-moment, non-judgmental awareness, and it's cultivated by paying attention in a specific way that is in the present moment and as non-reactively, as non-judgmentally, and open-heartedly as possible. So if we follow that, the idea of non-judgmental, it's like hearing from within you. We all have that wisdom, and it does come from the universe. And so to help feeding your squishy brain, it's all encompassing, because you hear things, you read things, you see things, all of that influences the brain. And to keep it healthy, eating good food, good whole food, basically from the earth, is where it starts. And so, Dr. Jacalyn.
Ricki, I have to share this with you. I am so proud of you. I was literally choking, and I just threw you out there because I couldn't stop choking. And all of a sudden you're on screen and you just ran with it. So way to go. I have my water right here.
Cheers.
My eyes were on screen. Cheers. I am so proud of you, the way that you just took the bull by the horns and just went right for it. I picked up so many amazing tips from that. I want to bring Daphne Diluce on. She's backstage. I've got a few comments to share with you. Daphne, welcome. Nice to see you.
Hi, Daphne.
By the way, you two are dressed in the same color. How about that?
Yeah, I think we've got a coral there and a pink here.
Yeah,
coral in the UK.
Orange. It's my happy color.
Oh, this is pink. That's my happy color too.
I love it.
Thank you.
You both look great in it. So, Ricki, I have to say that something that you said a lot of wonderful things that really resonated. You mentioned about seniors not wanting to drink water, and I don't want to mention anyone that I live with who never, ever drinks water. How does somebody get this person to do that?
Juice, juicy foods, juicy fruits. We can get a lot of our water from the foods that we eat. I mean, oranges, eat the whole orange though. Peel him an orange. You know, the old peel no grape? Leave the grape peel on. Or peel the orange. Anything like that. Juicy vegetable. Cucumbers are wonderful for hydrating. Just hand them one of those little cucumbers that are really popular now. I think they're in season, as a matter of fact, now. So it's really great to eat them. Anything that's a juicy food will help with hydration.
Okay, so that was my mistake, because I kept saying you have to drink water, you have to drink water. So it's good to know that it doesn't just have to be water.
Right. Yogurt's good too. If you eat something like yogurt, it's a juicy food.
fantastic. And I loved the comment about the dark chocolate as well, because I haven't been eating sugar, but I think I may go back to it after today. So well done. Well done. I'm very proud of you.
I'm so delighted and honored to be here. I appreciate you and you're having us on this show. Thank you.
Well, I have to say, and Daphne and I have talked about this before, but I learned so much on this show. It's amazing because people come from different backgrounds and have different things to share. And every time I walk away saying, I didn't know that. I'm really glad that I'm doing this. I'm glad that everybody, is on this platform and sharing, because we really, I feel, are helping other people.
Yes, I hope so. That's my main passion in life.
Fantastic. Daphne, anything? I know you joined us after the show started, but did you have any comments for Ricki? Did you hear any of her presentation you want to share about?
I watched their presentation. I had to join you a little later because, doing this brand thing I do, and I'm helped so many people. Like when I need to help them, I need to help them. And sometimes, as much as I stretch time, sometimes it needs to stretch a bit more. Anyway, so I'm here now. No, but I did hear the presentation. Absolutely loved it, because you talk in such a beautiful way, and the way that you're working is not only through intelligence and knowing and experience, but you bring fantastic energy and love into it. And that's a part of actually healing and nutrition as well, because I think that it's not about it's when you can connect to your heart and mind, body, heart and soul.
Yes.
And then you've got a wonderful person like you who can help to guide people with their food knowledge. Then it's a winner. Anyone, and I know many people, and I've had big experience in life, and I know just from the few things that you have said that you're a very special lady. So that's the first comment. The second comment, my favorite thing that you said was the relationship between the head and the gut, because so many people don't know enough about this, and what goes on in the gut. I mean, I've had my own experiences with family members. It's huge.
Yes.
And then the last thing, I've only got wonderful things to say. Now, when I start talking wonderful, I can talk a lot. And I see wonderful, that talk wonderful. But I love the fact that people can have cucumbers and juicy foods and eat in season. Those are so simple. And also, especially people who are on their desk a lot, I think it's a good idea to kind of like get a whole bunch of juicy food or lovely things and have a bowl of it there. So you can actually nourish yourself.
Yes.
So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Daphne. I do have a question for Ricki, and Daphne, you're welcome to weigh in on this as well. So I'm going to use myself as an example, but I noticed I'm 58, and I noticed last year during the pandemic, my skin started to change. And of course, there was no email that came. There was no flyer that, hey, just want to let you know when you get to be a certain age. So I started looking at what I was eating. And at the time, I was eating sugar. So I cut the sugar out, and I noticed a big difference in my skin. But are there certain things in addition to sugar that we should avoid so that we have, and I can't speak to this from a medical perspective, but I believe our skin loses elasticity. And is there something we can do other than have some type of plastic surgery or some injectables? Is there something we can do to help facilitate more collagen or things to stay away from so we're not deleting it?
Great question. Thank you. Well, one of the things, you're right, we do tend to lose elasticity. There's where water comes in, for one thing. And avoiding certain kinds of food, like sometimes gluten will, even if you're not celiac, you may be sensitive to gluten, and it can produce a whole bunch of things. Try to avoid processed foods. Anything that's really in a box that's been processed and has more than, the proverbial 5 ingredients. I'm sure we've all heard that. But for example, something like low-fat yogurt. Get the full fat. The fat feeds your brain, but it also feeds your skin. It's part of the lubricating system. Omega-3 supplements are excellent. things like, especially for women, evening primrose oil. Either in addition to, that's another one. That's a good one.
When you say oil, are we putting it on our skin, or we're putting it in our food, or what are we?
Internally. The oil that I drink, well, I use olive oil, I use walnut oil, I use avocado oil for cooking and baking. And also MCT, which is medium chain triglycerides. Basically, it's coconut oil. And I've used coconut oil on my hair, on my face, and there's a coconut oil. I'm not remembering the brand right now, but I've mixed it up. It comes with oil, separates on top. You know how you about peanut butter or almond butter, and you have to mix it. Well, this oil comes the same way, but once it's mixed, it holds the mix. And I eat a spoonful of that daily. Or you can put it on some bread. You can spread coconut oil on a piece of bread if you're eating bread. Get the gluten-free kind. In pastries and things, fruit juices, for one thing, as I said before, eat the orange because the juice concentrates the sugar. But when you're eating the whole fruit, you're also getting the fiber and the other elements that are in there. So you want to eat the whole fruit rather than just the juice from a fruit. Processed meats and cheeses. And here's where people go, what can I eat? There's so much food out there. Processed meats are things like bologna, which is, if you look at the old-fashioned, there's a term that says bologna. Don't eat that. Anything that's processed, heavily processed like that. Yes, you can do it once in a while, but not a steady diet of it. Get organic meats as much as you can. And the full-fat yogurt, get your own plain yogurt and add your own fruit, because then you know what's going into it. And you know it's not a processed food. So basically that's it, and lots more water. Collagen, by the way, is very difficult to absorb on the outside. So when you're eating foods that have collagen, something like a protein powder with collagen, I would look for those.
Okay, thank you. I'm writing them down.
Okay.
Thank you, Ricki.
I have a question. Yes. Sometimes you see males walking around, and they can be quite skinny, but they've got an extended tummy. And how can they get that cured, and where does that come from?
That's the gut problem. That's either a digestive problem, and I do recommend digestive enzymes and probiotics. I also, with my clients, I will have them test the microbiome. It's done with a stool sample, and it's sent to a lab, and they will let you know what you're capable of digesting. If you're not digesting properly, it can produce that. It can also be insulin resistance. So it varies with the individual, but definitely see your health practitioner about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's because there's one thing that I think I'm asking the question because there's a lot of people out there that have that problem, and I know that women are sensitive, but men are sensitive too. They don't like talking about things. They don't like going to the doctors. So I thought I'd throw that question out there. Help you guys.
That's a good one.
Testing is vitally important. There's science. I mean, it's not just guesswork. There's science. And when your body doesn't have the enzymes, for example, on my report, I don't have the enzymes to digest chickpeas and paprika. I mean, two things that I love, but I don't eat them. I eat them sparsely, and I really love hummus. It's made from chickpeas. So I'm going to have to figure out, I think I'm going to make it from something else. But yeah, I mean, we're not aware of all these things. And that's
very true.
Get your gut tested.
Get your gut tested. That's the takeaway for today. Get your gut tested. Call Ricki. All right, we're going to run her information again. Thank you so much, Ricki. That was really enjoyable and very informative. Well done.
Thank you.
Ms. Diluce, are you ready to go on with your presentation?
I certainly am.
All right. I'm going to spotlight you. I'm noticing just a little lag, by the way. There's like a lag of maybe 3 seconds, but that's okay.
I can't see a lag over here, over the pond. I can't sense that if you see it, but it's not happening at this end. So I'm not quite
Excellent.
sure. I'll just keep talking.
All right. I'm going to spotlight you, and Ricki and I are going to go backstage. We'll be listening and excited to come back and share with you. Have a great lesson, Daphne.
Thank you. So hello, everybody. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Daphne Diluce from Brand Clever at Raw Media Creative. Brand Clever, that is my methodology for getting your branding, business, and positioning in your marketplace correct. And then Raw Media Creative is a wonderful company where we make content, PR, and actually get you brand famous. That's what we do, and more. So today, every week I bring some lessons, but today I wanted to talk about mental health because I work with a lot of clients and on a daily basis. So I'm really in touch with the people that I'm working with and for. And one topic came up this week where one wonderful person just mentioned that a very dear relative had tried to take their own life just 2 days before. And this beautiful person was, on the Zoom talking away. And I know that she showed up because she believes in what she's doing and what we're doing. And she takes our work very seriously and puts a high value on it. But actually, when she said that, it actually took my breath away just for a few seconds. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is mental health while you're building your businesses. And I think this is like really important because we can get so caught up in our businesses, we can be so busy, and we can be so helpful and so full on that sometimes we can become disconnected from what's really important. So today I want to talk about mental health. I'm going to talk about branding, mental health and business, and kind of the timeline of things, because I think this topic could be helpful for everyone. And the thing is, the way I see it is that we need to learn what it is to be human. And I think that in society, we can become so conditioned from parents, from school, from university, from college, from what, or from your job. You're so conditioned into so much that is even not you. That sometimes we can actually lose a sense of who we are. But what we are is a human. So I joke a lot about this, but it's a serious topic for me. So I always encourage people, learn to be human first. Find your humanity. Find out what your feelings are about, what your personality is, your feelings, your character, and your values. When you have those, you're going to be much more in touch with yourself. And the thing is, when we are a front of a company or a front of a brand, the idea is that you show up every day. But when you have something that happens in your life that's very dramatic, like somebody becoming ill, somebody wanted to take their life, ups and downs in relationships, perhaps financial pressures within your company, even if your company is like really good, but perhaps you want to grow, or perhaps something came that wasn't expected and you have to jump up to that, then these things can have a knock-on effect. Now, I loved our guest before, and it's actually also on topic because actually, obviously, what you're putting in your body has an effect to your body. But where I really want people to start to think a little bit more deeply is actually about their mental health while they're building their brands. And what are they going to do to take care of it? Okay, so I've got a few tips for you. The first tip is actually to feel what you feel. And the thing is, even if you're frustrated, you're mad, you're excited, you're blown away, or you're depressed, or whatever it is to feel those feelings. And the fastest way to do it is just to get your pen out and just write them down. Now, nobody has to know what you're feeling, and this can be a very private thing, and just write out the feelings, because with emotions, they're not going to just go away. They will rumble around and they can come out in very unexpected places. Now, in England, we say that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know if they say that in the USA or around the world, but in England we do, meaning one tiny little thing just broke it. And this becomes kind of layers and layers and layers and layers of suppressed emotions, where you keep swallowing, you keep not talking about it, not expressing it, not working through these emotions. And somebody says something, and actually what they've said is very, very mild and would not normally upset anybody, but that other person can go nuts because it's a straw that broke the camel's back. But this is a kind of symptom of emotions not being dealt with. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you are going to be emotional because you are going to be passionate about what you do. So there's no getting away from this. And a lot of people can be very reserved. Some people just blurt it out. But whoever you are and what type you are, maybe you don't need to take any of these tips, but maybe somebody around you does. Maybe you could observe a little bit more and just be kinder to someone, or ask them some questions and be supportive. So what you do when you've written down your emotions, the first thing is to feel it, to really, really feel it and recognize that you have them. Because when you talk to your own emotions, it's really good for your mental health, because when emotions are listened to, they will behave in a much better way. Now, the fastest way to move your emotions is through music. And the thing is, so I'm not telling anybody not to feel. I'm not telling anyone that their emotions don't matter. Quite the opposite. But it's about getting yourself in alignment with yourself in a strong way, and to be able to deal with some of your issues, moving from a position of strength. So what would that look like? A good night's sleep, some wonderful food that grows, not manufactured, and actually good fluids, good liquid, but also to have space in your day and some time, so actually you can give yourself what you need to succeed, and actually start looking at some things that might be upsetting you or causing you issues or trouble. That can kind of help you move your emotions and get yourself in the position so when you're ready. You might need soft music just to come down. You might need rock music to get the anger, linking with anger, or move it. And then why I'm talking about music is because that's something that everybody luckily usually can find on their phone or around them, but that's the fastest way to start to shift an emotion. So the next tip is to don't take any action for anything when you're in an emotional state and when you're off balance. You have to take responsibility of that. Go and have a bath, go and have a shower, listen to music. Always go from position of strength. And the last tip I'm going to give you, because, I could write a book about this, about all the other subjects as well that I talk about. But the last tip for the day is be mindful to yourself and of your self-care. And at the end of the day, ask yourself, how was your day? What could you have done to make it better? What were the highlights? What were the lowlights? And look at the lowlights too, the low things of the day. And then you can kind of recalibrate a few things to make the next day better. And please, please, please look after your mental health in business, because when you're a leader, when you're a face, when you're the boss, when you're that person that people rely on, then they need you. So you have to look after yourself, because people will probably think more of you than you can even imagine. Anyway, so that's my lesson for the day.
Daphne, I can't even believe this, because I didn't know what you were going to speak on, but what you spoke on just resonated with me today and some decisions that I've made. It's unbelievable. Thank you so much for that. I hope all business owners out there are listening. If you're watching on the live, the replay, so many wonderful gems there about really being true to yourself and being able to express yourself and realizing that you have a business, but you are still a human. As you mentioned, you're still a person, and you've got to take care of yourself first. Ricki, as somebody with their own business, what are your thoughts on Daphne's presentation?
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Well, feel your feelings was the first thing that got to me. Let yourself feel the feelings. Don't go, oh, I shouldn't do that. And then music. Music for me is critical, vital, however you want to put it. And you're right, different moods, different musics. I mean, I'm an old rock and roller. So there are times when I can listen to Bob Seger's, Seger giving me rock and roll, and the Stones. And Charlie Watts, may he rest in peace, just passed. He was a drummer. So you can tell the music, I'm a music nut. And I do go from rock to classical, and I've learned to appreciate rap because it has a rhythm. And rhythm for me is super important. So when you talked about music and the moods, and putting you there. And then the other thing was to wait until that feeling that you want to kill somebody passes. Whatever the feeling is, but that's usually and let breathe. As you said earlier, Dr. Jacalyn, breathe. So important. But the music for me and my emotions is really highly important. Thank you so much. That was great.
Oh, thank you.
It was. And you have such a beautiful way of presenting, as Daphne's been here many times before, and I'm always excited to hear what she's going to share. And Daphne's so successful in her own right. And I just have to share with folks who don't know, maybe they're just watching, but Daphne is doing all the branding, Brand Clever, all the branding for, you see behind me, and you see on our different shows, and you'll see further things coming out. And she truly is a genius. And Ricki, she puts her heart and soul into it. And I happened to speak to her. I was with Daph. It was yesterday, the day before, and you had the rock and roll music on. You're like, yeah, I'm at my desk just jamming out to the music while I work. So I think that music is really important. One thing I have for the two of you, questions. So I have a playlist that I made, I'm going to say over a year ago, because I made it for yoga when I teach, and there's some songs on there, it's different speeds, different, what's the word? Not speeds, different, pace. Some are really fast. Rhythm? Some are slow. Rhythm, yes. And sometimes there's songs that come on that remind me of people or places and things. Yes. And I feel a little, and I immediately go to the next song. Is that bad, or should I let myself feel those feelings?
Well, I don't think that's bad, but I think you've got to be very careful with your triggers. And it depends on what you're going to do. And this kind of mental health, how to take care of yourself in business, is so important, because when you are like really at top of your game, you're going to need to have a huge bandwidth. And an example of that, you could have 5 or 6 mobile phones on a desk, and they all start pinging and making noises, and it not bother you. So you've got that mental strength to know, there's 7 phones ringing, and you don't feel that you have to react or fear of missing out that somebody's ringing you for something. And you can either remove yourself or switch off all the phones. But it takes a lot of mental strength to actually grow your bandwidth. This is why it's very important to check in with your emotions. So the thing is now, as life is not easy, and the thing is, as we're human, things hurt our feelings, things break our heart, and well, I call bruise our heart, because if it's broken, wouldn't be breathing. But they really bruise your heart, and they really can make you very heart sick. And some people can take a lifetime to get over these things, and some people can't. But when you can really actually go from a position of strength and have the strength of mind to overcome things. If you are in that arena, you'll know something which is referred to reframing and triggering. So I would be careful to what you're listening to, because the thing is, if those things trigger any heart bruising, any anger, you're tuning into that. So it's like if it's yesterday, and we've all had those times when we've listened to music and it's just like yesterday. It's like we were there, it was that, and it's just like yesterday. So yes, I think you have to be, depending what time frame you're in. If you're free and you've got time to indulge, and maybe you're remembering something and you want to cry, do it. But if you've got several clients to see to, massive amount of work, you have to, well, you don't have to, it's a good idea if you can override all of that. Another day when you called me and I was listening to the hard rock, I didn't feel good that day. I had a lot of stress. I could have just, what could I have done? Probably gone to a cave and hid for 6 weeks. But that wouldn't help me. So what I did is I decided just to kind of like anchor down and actually use the kind of energy that that kind of shifts frustration, but will get me through it. And I did it on purpose because I know how to manage myself. And then afterwards, I knew that at the end of the day, I would really need to have a salt bath and allow myself to kind of recalibrate, because I'm human. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a very long answer to a very short question.
No, thank you for answering that. What I have decided to do whenever this happens is, and I, maybe it's a result of the pandemic and living alone with my mother for all this time, but I don't want to go there, and I don't want to go back to memory lane, or I just feel like, no, I'm moving forward. If there's something I didn't deal with in the past or still there, it'll still be there. I'll get to it at some point, but not right now. So I just keep plotting. I just go forward to the next song.
Next.
So that's, yeah.
Next. That's a good idea.
It's your choice.
Yes. So something I just want to interject about today and mental health in your business, because the timing couldn't be any more perfect. It's a little bit of a personal story. So I was talking to Ricki a little backstage before the show began, but the show before Life's Amazing Journey, our guest wasn't able to make it because she's not well. So she had contacted me on Messenger or something, but I didn't see it last night. So when I went on to do the show, I didn't realize she wasn't coming. I started searching. I see she's not. So I said to the co-host, John, I said, hey, we're going to do this together. Does that sound all right? So as we start going through the show, we had time and we're talking. He's an entertainer, but he's also a renowned coach. So I said to him, would it be okay if we did a live on-air coaching session? Because I have something really bothering me. So we did. And basically it was the 75 Hard program that I've been on. And as a business owner and thinking about my mental health, I've really been torn because I don't feel well. I'm not sleeping well. The 2 workouts a day, a gallon of water, like it's too much with everything that I'm doing. And I already knew that it was, but it was kind of an ego thing to see if I'm tough enough that I can take on even more stuff. So long story short, I feel like it's affecting my ability to be on top of everything, because I looked at the broadcast that I produced for last night, and when I read it, I put talk instead of talking heads. So I had to go to all the platforms to see if I could change it. And I thought, that's not like me. But I was so tired looking at the computer last night, setting up 7 broadcast studios, which I would have already done, but I don't have time because I'm reading, I'm doing the 2 workouts. So I just said, I'm not being true to myself, and I'm not going to be true to my business or my partners. I don't want to do this anymore. And so I decided right then and there. And then fast forward, I got this incredible message literally 10 minutes later, out of the blue, from someone who wants to partner with me on producing a song. That I always wanted to be a singer, and they said that they saw that in me. This person's a singer. And so they've gifted me with voice lessons and producing a song together with them. And I thought, is that because I gave up the 70? Like, I don't know. But the truth is, I need to be true to myself so I can be true to my business and true to my clients, true to my partners. So goodbye, 75 Hard, and hello, mental health.
Absolutely. I'm going to celebrate that
Yes.
with you. And you see how important it is actually to air this topic, because a lot of people out there suffer in silence. And sometimes people are in great relationships, but in that relationship, they've learned to step on eggshells or not talk. So they swallow it down. Not good. Yeah. And, if you can't talk to that person, well, okay. But then you have to find another way to deal with it, because your life force and your self-expression, that's your brand, isn't it? That's the biggest brand you're ever going to have, is you, baby, and to get that out. And who likes to be around kind of strained, stressed, depressed, sad people? And yes, we should love to be around them and help them, and that's what the right thing to do. But it's about looking after ourselves, so we don't become that person that other people feel they have to look after. We have to look after us. And the thing is, sometimes when you feel, oh, I need to rest, no, you don't. You need to put a nice dress or a good outfit on if you're a guy and go out and dance. Go and ride a motorbike, go and ride the rollerblade, go dancing. Yeah, you need to go shopping or have something to eat. You don't need, oh, darling, have a rest. No, you don't. You need to do something with your life force and your vitality. And often people kind of miss that. And also the body isn't made like that. Like if the body is searching for a shift, it doesn't say, oh, lie down and go to sleep. If you were meant to do that, it would put you to sleep. No, you're meant to be moving, expression. And the thing is, with music, that is a great thing, but that's also not enough. Don't just use your ears, use your body. Just get up off your desk and dance. Yeah, I do this, and if my partner's around Steve, and several times I've had the strangest looks, like this guy thinking, what is this woman doing? I just suddenly go, I have to, because otherwise I feel as I can't breathe, because we're not naturally made to sit and looking at a tiny little computer all day. So
it's not good for our eyes, definitely.
No, or our bodies.
Bless you, Daphne. I am so in agreement with you. Need your brain.
Exactly. And but then they need to be making appointments with you, Ricki, so they're eating the right food so they can see, so they can move, they can hear. Yes. Because
that's right. I think we need to talk with each other. Definitely.
See how it all comes together. I love this. This has been happening on so many of these talking head shows where people are on, they've never met each other, and then there's all this symmetry, chemistry, and ways to collaborate that come to light. So once again, here it is. So thank you for that. All right, it's been a brilliant show. I'm going to highlight each one of you, and I'd love for you to just share what it is you would like people to take away from your lesson. Number one. Number two, how do people contact you, and who should contact you? So Daphne, what should people take away from your lesson?
Well, what you should take away from our lesson is, don't forget that you are human. But perhaps just as importantly, don't forget that the people around you are human too. Be kind, be patient, and don't know about how other people feel. That's a big mistake. Oh, I know how you feel. No, you don't. Allow that to happen. And within that kind of feeling, always go from a position of strength. Never make decisions or hasty decisions on emotions. And when you're not feeling quite right, get yourself sorted. Okay. So my name's Daphne Diluce. If you'd like to contact me, you can contact me via email, which is my name, daphne@daphnedeluce.com. I'm very easy to find because I'm the only Daphne Diluce in the world. The type of people that should contact me are people who are interested in their branding, or people who are interested in making content, or people who are interested in actually having a documentary made about them, their life, their business, or people who want to write a book and make that book into a business. Really, anybody who wants to get themselves out there. But I come with a warning. I make things happen. So the thing is, we have to come with energy. We have to be able to show up ready. So we have to have resources, time, and be willing to be successful. That's me.
Thank you, Daphne. Be willing to put the work in. That's what it takes. And the work includes, in my experience, a lot of very small details that people don't typically want to do, the small things, the little tasks, but they have to be done. All right. Thank you. Ricki, what value would you like people to take away from your presentation? Who should contact you and how do they get in touch with you?
Thank you. Well, I am Ricki McKenna, have been for a long time. And the value that I really value, and I hope that people will understand the idea of mindfulness and mindful eating. When we're in a mood, as Daphne said, where we're having these little stresses and strains, don't just go to the refrigerator or the pantry and grab the first thing that you see. Stop, look, and breathe, please. And consider that you're feeding your body, you're feeding the mood, you're feeding your brain, and that you're the most important person that you have to take care of. And I agree with Daphne as far as, not going out there and landing on other people with your opinions. And one of the quotes that I love that I heard years ago was, "Thou shalt not should on thyself." And to take that to heart, really give yourself the freedom and the choices, the options to choose the good food, the good things that feed you. Yes, okay, once in a while, a little bit of junk food, that's fine, but don't make it a habit. Lifestyle, as far as I'm concerned, your lifestyle should be fed with good food and not, the processed and it takes a little bit of time and energy and thinking to produce good food, and you can do it yourself. That's one of the things that I teach on my show, which you can find me at patreon.com, patreon.com, so that /Ricki McHealthy, and also RickiMcKenna.com will get to me also. I think the biggest takeaway is to be conscious and mindful. Mindfulness is super, super important. And it takes a while to practice, but practicing it is well worth it. It's like the little details. And then the big overall picture will come into it'll all come into focus if you're feeding yourself well. And if I can help, I'm here. You can see Ricki McHealthy, and Ricki's Kitchen is on once. I have a weekly program, which is a cooking show, basically, where I speak to nutrition and demonstrate how to make something. The last thing we made was a green soup called soup vert, which my daughter said it had to have a sexy name because I was calling it green soup, so she gave it a French name. But it truly is delicious. It's a combination of vegetables. It's Swiss chard, leeks, zucchini, and basil. And it just comes together in this marvelous blend. And then we made a crostini. So it's examples of things like this that you can make from things you have in your pantry and in your refrigerator. Feed your brain. Keep it healthy. And listen to good music while you're doing all that.
Thank you, Ricki. That was phenomenal. Both of you, great words of wisdom and takeaways for our audience. I appreciate it. Thank you so much to both of you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you both again on Talking Heads.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Everyone, wasn't that amazing? Two beautiful, intelligent women who are successful and accomplished and coming here to share words of wisdom with us and lessons and expertise. Please do go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV, and subscribe and watch all of our Talking Heads episodes. Okay, so we've got 9 shows today. I've got 7 left, and I just want to talk a little bit about 2 things I'm really excited about that are going to happen at the end of the day. So I know you know me as a TV and radio show host, a producer, director, and broadcast engineer. Hopefully you know me as that. But what you might not know is I am a certified holistic life and career coach. I'm a certified meditation coach and a certified yoga instructor. And I have been branded the listening mentor. Why is that? I have been listening to people for over 30 years in my corporate role, which I just retired from last year. And people have always said, you're a really good listener. And with these shows, I don't use any script because I want to be fully present and listen. Why is it important to listen? Because that's where amazing relationships develop. That's where business transactions take place and both parties walk away feeling happy about the negotiation. So if I were to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how many of you, by raising your hands, which I can't see, how many of you, your inner circle would say, I'm going to give you a 9 or a 10 for your listening skills? I don't see any hands. So of course I can't see any. I'm going to say that many of us need some help in the listening area. So I'm here to help. How can I help? 3 different ways. At the end of my broadcast, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, all ending before 6 p.m., I am going to give you 8 minutes. Only 8 minutes, a short amount of time. I'm going to give you wonderful information to help you be a better listener. On Fridays, I'm going to take your questions in regards to listening and relationships, and I'm going to read them on air and answer them. So Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time here, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that is 11 p.m. British Summer Time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So please do join me for the Listening Mentor. Also, I'm hosting a mind-blowing online seminar. Today is the last day to get the early bird pricing. I have tried to price this so it's reasonable for everyone to attend. It's $30 for 90 minutes of power listening. Where are you going to get this incredible offer? With me giving you what it is you need to know. So please go over to my Instagram. I've got a banner here that I'll share with you, and you can just sign up on my Instagram, which is dr.jacalyn on Instagram. There it is. Purchase your tickets, $30 until the end of the day. And finally, while you're writing all this information down, the 3rd way I can help you is I provide one-on-one personal, confidential coaching sessions to help you be the best version of yourself through Clarity Coaching. That's right, Clarity Coaching, to help you be the best listener you can be and have better relationships. All right, that is the end of my sermon for today. I thank you all. Please do stay tuned. We are coming up at the top of the hour with Diane Floyd-Bain, fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. I want to leave you with this from my little speech today. Be true to yourself. Okay. I wasn't being true to myself with this book, which Andy, incredible marketer. Okay. I don't know the guy, Andy Frisella. He's an incredible marketer because I bought his book. I bought the app. I've been telling everybody. So if it's true for you, if you want to do that challenge, you do the challenge. I did it for 14 days and I'm finished. In fact, while I'm here in the air, I have my little online counter. I am setting it to 0. Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. There it is. I am done with it. That's it. All right. Thank you again for watching. Thanks for being here. And again, love to Ricki and Daphne. I'll see you guys again. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you at the top of the hour for fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure.